What it do, people? We're back from the Ulberg versus Reyes UFC fight night last night, and today we're doing I'm gonna look at the matchups that I see for each of those fighters, break down the fights, what I saw, and just do a review of the whole card, basically. So we'll start with the Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes fight, which got performance of the night bonus, and that's definitely for Carlos Ulberg. Because I didn't see nothing yesterday from Reyes. I feel like he was a lamb slain to the slaughter. And I picked him to win. I didn't think it would be that way. Honestly, I thought Ulberg, he's been going decision with Volkan Ozdemir, I thought Dominic Reyes would. I thought that would be the kind of matchup Dominic Reyes could thrive in. But after seeing this performance, I think if you put Dominic Reyes against a guy like Volkan Ozdemir next, I think he's going to get put out. I thought maybe his chin was better because sometimes the durability of a fighter isn't related necessarily to their... It's not like a constant thing. So some fighter... they will show weak chin in certain moment, and then they will come back. It's just sometimes because they fight scared. Their body's not going in this kind of primal state where they're ready to absorb punishment. And tonight, I feel like Reyes looked exactly like that. He looked slow. He looked weird. He looked like he didn't want to be in there. Looked like he knew what was awaiting him. And he doesn't have a deep tool bag. Dominic Reyes is one of those fighters where... he had extreme athleticism, but it seems it may be gone, or it's close to being gone. And so if he's fighting a guy who's an athlete from now on, if you want to pick right and Dominic Reyes fight, if you fight a guy who's somewhat athletic, who has big power, he's losing that fight. That's going to be my new Dominic Reyes policy. And I think Carlos Ulberg is that. Carlos Ulberg, by the way, a prospect who's 34 years old. He is 8-1 in the UFC though, or 8-1 or 9-1 I think in the UFC. And he lost his debut to Enze Chukwu, who's, for a debut that's a pretty hard fight to go in. He's a weird frame and everything, and he's a big guy. I don't know. Anyhow, Carlos Ulberg against Dominic Reyes. First round KO, brutal fight. Yeah, I think Carlos Ulberg's probably going to get the next title shot or an actual number one contenders fight, because Dominic Reyes, he's probably going to get the next title shot, but Dominic Reyes definitely didn't look like a guy that was supposed to be in a number one contender fight. Meanwhile, Yuri versus Khalil is probably going to be fireworks. I hope they get the next title shot, and Ulberg, he can get another fight in the meantime, or he gets the title shot. Either way, I think Ulberg versus Ankalaev is a very cool fight. I think it's a very cool fight. So I wouldn't be mad at it. I just prefer Khalil and Yuri, and I think that the person that's in front of them, we know for a fact is a deserving number one contender. Unlike this matchup, where Dominic Reyes, the John Jones Slayer, got slayed. Sadly. This is a coping moment for the UFC fans, me included. It doesn't change the fact that he's beaten John Jones. But for Ulberg, I see either another number one contender fight or an actual title shot. And for Reyes, I hope it's retirement. He doesn't beat anyone with power, and he fights at 205. Please, get him out of there. Like, if you put Dominic Reyes against a Bozdan Guskov, who just got matched with Jan Blachowicz, by the way. You put him with one of those guys, he's going to lose. You put him with Ibo Aslan, he's probably going to lose somehow, This is terrible. I don't know what to do with Reyes. I hope he retires of that one. Next, we have Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Arslan. Big submission by Crute. I think I picked Arslan to win. So I just thought I just don't rate Jimmy Cruz at all. Every time I see him fight, I'm like, God damn, this guy. How is this guy in the UFC? But then he keeps winning. He's like the worst fighter that keeps winning. But so I respect it. He's a gritster and he worked the takedown. And on the ground, he seems to be all right. He seems to be pretty all right. So yeah, he's just submitted Ivan Arslan in 3 minutes. So gotta respect it. And he got the performance of the night of the submission. That looked like this was probably, like, it wasn't the worst submission because it did look brutal. But it was not a very technical submission. Like, this guy, Ivan Arslan, how do you get subbed this way? This is a bit embarrassing for the higher weight class fighters, you know. Ivan Arslan, he's not a winning UFC fighter, I don't think. But, you know, you got to work that ground game to a minimum. I don't think I'd get caught in that off of my BJJ training, you know. Jack Jenkins versus Raman Tavares. Okay. I thought that lighter man skill would prevail. I believe in the Lucas Tracy meta. We got cooked. That the stats, well, okay, 3-0 takedown, 73-68. Honestly, Jack Jenkins looked much better than Raymond Tavares. I think it was a 30-27. Pretty sure. And it should have been. Because Jack Jenkins won that fight from pillar to post. Easy fight for him. Yeah, I mean, I almost subbed him. I don't know. These subs, there's two guys that well, we're going to go to the other one afterwards, but there was like two for sure submissions that got hit on that card that somehow they didn't end up happening, which was crazy. But oh, I didn't talk about matchup for Jimmy Cruz and Ivan Arslan. Jimmy Cruz, give him another can. And Ivan Arslan, this is an embarrassing performance. Get him another grappler so that he works, and so that he works his ground game. If he loses that fight, kick him out the UFC, I think. Okay, Jack Jenkins. Jack Jenkins got a good win on Raymond Tavares, who missed weight for the third time out of 5 fights, up a weight class. Doing the Brian battle, you know, this is embarrassing. He's much less dense than Jack Jenkins is. Anyhow, Jack Jenkins, I see they could give him a good matchup. I know that Surrey City lost to Raman Tavares because he started opening up, but that's a very equal matchup. Who do you give a guy like Jack Jenkins? Because he just lost to Gabriel Santos, who hasn't broken to the top 15 yet. I don't think you can give him a top 15 fight. Who do you give him at 45? That's a tough one. Who do you give at 45 to this guy? I mean, 45 is a very good division, I think. Damn. Maybe you can give him like an... No, Edson doesn't fight at 45 anymore. That's crazy. You can give him like a Calvin Kattar fight, I think. If he's in the rankings still. I don't know if Calvin's in the rankings still. You like Jack Jenkins or a Dan Ige fight, something like that. I think you can give him either a lower top 15 or just outside of that. I think Jack Jenkins is a solid fighter. I don't think he's great or anything, but I think he's very solid. And so that would be the kind of fight that I give to him. A guy like that's losing in the top 15, maybe. I don't think he's ready for like Giga, because Giga is a tricky matchup. But if you give him like a guy with a conventional frame, he could do good. He could very well do good. Like, you know, or maybe Aaron Pico. Give him like a Aaron Pico type of fight. I think that would be cool. Aaron Pico fighting a legit UFC fighter that's not a world beater like Lerone Murphy. Give him Aaron Pico. Fuck it. Flip it. I mean, I can't be cursing in those videos. For Raymond Tavares, 3 weight cut, 3 miss weight cut. Get him out the UFC. Honestly, he's terrible. He's at 3 losses now. He's getting, you know, he's at 3 losses. His wins is controversial. Before that, he got a contender win against Cortavius Ramius, but that's not aging like wine either, to be honest. He lost to Davy Grant, which is a tricky matchup. No shame in that. Now he's lost at 45, missed weight again. I don't know. Either give him a bottom of the barrel 45er that he's going to beat, or get him out of there. Get him out of the UFC. We don't need more of those kind of fighters that miss weight. I think missing weight should become more and more. They shouldn't allow it anymore. 3 times in 5 fights? And up a weight class this time? Nah, get this guy out of the UFC, honestly. He's going to be in dirty boxing. He's going to do good in dirty boxing. He's going to be whooping on these guys. This is the best case scenario for him. Neil Magny versus Jake Matthews. This is the fight of the night. For the hardcore fans, this was the fight of the night. Best fight I've seen on that card, honestly. Now, Neil Magny ending this fight in a Darce choke in the 3rd round. After getting manhandled on the ground in the 1st round. Weird situation going on. But I'm happy they kept it going because that was very unfair to Neil Magny, you know. He didn't do anything. I mean, his arm looked like it went limp, but the ref didn't try to see if it was limp or not. He just called it off right away before even trying that. So I don't think that's acceptable. But I don't think it's fair on Jake Matthews either, because for sure maybe adrenaline dump, something like that, they could have. But to be fair, he did fight a Jake Matthews fight even after that. So it is unfair, but I don't think it changed the result much. This is the average Neil Magny fight. Same thing he did against Mallet. Same thing he's been doing to these like unranked guys trying to get into the rankings. But Magny's outside the rankings now. So maybe give him another shot at the top 15 spot, you know? Something like that. That's what I would say. I think you can give Neil Magny a Kevin Holland fight. Those are similar frames. They both, you know, they both got a Darce choke in their last, well, not their last. So Kevin Holland's 2 fights ago. Last fight he lost to D-Rod. And now, you can give him D-Rod. You can give Neil Magny D-Rod. I think that's a good fight. Either D-Rod or Kevin Holland. I see either of those fights being good. I think Jake Matthews, he has to fight down. Jake Matthews kind of I feel like he fights at a cardio kickboxing pace. Always. Jake Matthews, he's technically sound and everything. He's durable. He just doesn't grit it out. Doesn't go for the finish. He fights. I don't even know how to describe how he fights. He fights a bit in a, like he doesn't care who wins or loses this fight. He's like, man, I'm going to go in and do something. And that's what he does. He's been subbed quite a bit in his career as well. So his ground game, he's shown solid, he has a solid physicality on the ground, but he doesn't really have anything crazy going for him. Other than that, I see him fighting a guy like, who can you match him up against? That's a good question. Who can you match him up against at 170? Damn. Jake Matthews fight, huh? Matching up Jake Matthews is crazy. Who do you give Jake Matthews in this? Let me see. I know Phil Rowe is a name that comes to mind, but I feel like he's fought. I think he's fought him, and I think he won that. Yeah, he beat Phil Rowe at some point. Give him like a Michael Chiesa type of fight, something like that, like another NPC matchup for Jake Matthews. I don't know, honestly. Not big on him. But I'm big on the next guy I'm going to be talking about, Tom Nolan. Tom Nolan coming back from adversity, got knocked down. Did they show knockdowns? 0 knockdowns. This is stupid. He had a knockdown. I don't know how they scar knockdown in the UFC nowadays. This is so stupid. Tom Nolan, a 6'3" lightweight. He's like very scrawny, but his submission ability is very, very good. I like Tom Nolan. And Charlie Campbell, I kind of rated Charlie Campbell. I feel like he wasn't really technically sound. The way that he fought, I was like, okay, this is not close to top 15 in a lightweight division, which I thought that matchup would show me. I just felt like the skill level in this fight on the Charlie Campbell side was not close to top 15. I think Charlie Campbell would get whooped by well, now Drew Dober's chin's now suspect, so I don't know anymore. But, you know, if Drew Dober has half of, like a Matt Favola kind of guy, I think Matt Favola or someone like that would still whoop on Charlie Campbell. So, yeah. I see, for Charlie Campbell, I think a good matchup would be, that could be it, Drew Dober, Matt Favola. Match him up with Matt Favola. For Tom Nolan, still on the prospect side of things, don't put him against a big power puncher. Don't put him against someone that could shut his lights out. I see him. They couldn't match him up with another grappler in Thiago Moises or Ismael Bonfim maybe. Ismael Bonfim. I know he has that crazy KO against Terrence McKinney, but he's not really known for his KO ability. I think that's yeah, they're kind of close to top 15 matchup. You could give him like Elvis Brenner else, but Elvis Brenner I feel like has been losing recently. And so it's not necessarily a good look. Though Ismael Bonfim also has been losing, I feel like he's still known as a gritster. Gritster is crazy. I mean, like he's still, we still rate him somewhat. We're still like, okay, Ismael Bonfim, he's not going to lose to a bad fighter, you know. Ismael Bonfim has lost, I think, to Benoit Saint-Denis, Nazim Sadikov. But then other than that, he's just winning. And so I rate that. I rate him. I think give him Ismael Bonfim next. Tom Nolan, Ismael Bonfim, Charlie Campbell, give him a Drew Dober, or give him Matt Favola. Coming off that brutal ZSKO. Okay. Navajo Sterling versus Bellato. Navajo Sterling's on his decision merchant run, but he's 3-0 in the UFC, so you got to respect it. He had a good output in that fight. I just feel like he wasn't extending his arm when he was striking. I felt like he was a bit, you know, he was working the body. So I see some potential in him, but he's not a finished product yet. They have to keep matching him up this way, because if they match him up with good strikers in that division, I think that he's gonna lose. Like if he fought a Volkan Ozdemir fighter, someone like that, I think he gets put out. I think he gets whooped on. And they keep talking about this guy. I see the potential though. I see there's something he can do. And he has volume, working the body. He has all those things, but there's so many things that he lacks fundamentally. I just feel like, you know, maybe next time you match him up with Modestas Bukauskas. Yeah, match him up this way. I think that would be a good fight for him. And yeah, I think that would be a great fight, because I think it's a step up from Rodolfo Bellato. But I don't think it's, you know, I think it's still a winnable fight. I think that's a fantastic matchup. I think this is a peak hardcore matchup for him. Navajo Sterling against Modestas Bukauskas. Book this as a fight night, you know, main card fight, but not main event at all. But yeah, you know, that would be good. That would be a solid fight. Rodolfo Bellato lost in a goofy way to, you know, he has one win in his last 4. Still think he can be in the UFC. Match him up with, actually, Rodolfo Bellato versus Ivan Urslan. I know I said put him against a grappler, but do that matchup. Ivan Urslan, I feel like, is better than a Paul Craig, but that's all. And if he did fight Paul Craig, he probably gets subbed. But for everyone that he's fighting that have no takedown abilities, he's a better fighter. He's a better win than like a old Paul Craig. Which sounds crazy because he did lose to Paul Craig. Yeah, well, Rodolfo Bellato. Give him Ivan Urslan. That's the fighter. Rodolfo Bellato versus Ibo Aslan. One of those fighter. Maybe Billy Alicana. One of those, like, fighter that's rated very poorly in the UFC right now. Even though Alicana is slick, no one looks at him like a threat, and I feel like Rodolfo Bellato's less of a pushover than Ibo Aslan. I think you can do that fight. Rodolfo Bellato versus Billy Alicana. If he loses, he gets cut. Or any of those fighters that loses in the next matchup for Rodolfo Bellato needs to get cut. Honestly. Cam Ralston versus Petrosky. Okay. I like this. To be honest, I don't rate Petrosky highly. I think that he's been getting KO'd in weird ways, and I feel like he's very knockoutable against those kind of fighters. And I think Cam Ralston, I think he has a tricky frame to deal with in that weight class. I did pick Petrosky to beat him because I just thought he would be able to get those takedowns. I was wrong. Cam Ralston, throwing big KO in the first round. And I like the energy on the mic. Honestly, he didn't look that, wasn't scary or anything, but I like it. I appreciate it. A fighter that at least trying on the mic, trying to promote themselves. He came up with a speech and everything. I like it. I respect it. And I want to see him. I don't really have a big matchup for him. That's at 85. Who can he fight at 85? Who can he fight at? That's his debut. I think for Petrosky, match him up with like Cody Brundage or something. Match him up with Cody Brundage. That's okay. They both have wrestling. There could be some good wrestling situation. And for Cam Ralston, let me think. You could. That would be too high of a matchup for him. I was thinking of Oleg Jacek, but Oleg Jacek's on a big win streak. I don't want to see that. You can match him up with Stoltzfus, Dustin Stoltzfus. I think that's still a winnable matchup. That's a matchup with a little bit more of that's a bit more respectable than Petrosky maybe, but even then I don't think so. Either Dustin Stoltzfus or a Trajan Gore matchup. Someone that's going to test him more on the feet specifically. I think Trajan Gore has some grit to him. I still see him winning that fight though. I still think I would pick Cam Ralston to win those matchups. And Petrosky do the Brundage matchup, something like that. Bottom of the barrel, UFC. Next, Jamie Mullarkey. Jamie Mullarkey showed some craft, showed some craft against Rolando Bedoya, but that's pretty much his peak. He can't fight anyone with knockout power. That's that would be it. I'm not really hyped for any kind of Jamie Mullarkey fight. Put him against Diego Ferreira next, because Diego Ferreira's old and he's probably still gonna fight. And Bedoya, put him against Bobby Green. Put him against Bobby Green. That's probably a fight that Bobby Green's somehow going to win in the Big 25 or beginning of 26. Now, that's the matchup. I like that matchup. Colby Thickness against Josias Musasa. I think we saw something in Colby Thickness His absolute inability to strike was fascinating in this matchup. So this is something that I saw here. I think you got to go. I thought he won that. I thought he won that fight. Could have been a split decision. I feel like it was very close. But I do see Colby Thickness. Maybe bottom of the barrel, kind of 35er, and Josias Musasa. He does have potential. He does have a lot of potential. So, a lot of potential is kind of crazy. He does have some potential. So, keep both of those guys, even though Josias Musasa is 0-2. 0-2. So, you have to go. For Colby Thickness, I can't really think of a matchup. Match him up at the bottom of the barrel at 35. You know, give him... who's that guy that lost to the Kazakhstani fighter not that long ago in 315? That contender. Dana White Contender Series fighter. Let me think. Fought not Azat Maxim, but the guy that lost to Umar in his debut. He's a Canadian fighter. I don't remember his name, but he's you know what I'm talking about. Match him up with this guy. That's a tricky matchup. It's going to be some grappling, so maybe we can see him shine a bit. I think he loses that fight, to be honest. And then Josias Musasa, match him up in a striking fight. Go with that guy that lost to Surrey City. Cameron Smotherman. Match him up with Smotherman. I think that would be good. That would be you know, bottom of the barrel, but good striking fight. And Colby Thickness against this, I can't remember this guy's name. I know he lost to a Kazakhstani fighter on 315. Let me find his name. Brad Katona. Give Brad Katona against Colby. Do Brad Katona against Colby Thickness. Grappling matchup. And Josias Musasa against Cameron Smotherman. I think that's solid. That's a good fight. Michelle Montag showed Luana Carolina that she showed that she's a Kayla Harrison training partner. I don't have matchups. A WMMA fight. I picked wrong in this one because she didn't have a face. It said she weighed nothing and stuff. So, Brendan Perocic beat Alicia Ellison. Who he was supposed to be, to be honest. He was a much bigger guy. And he whooped on him from pillar to post. Got hit with like a solid shot or something. So he showed he has some ability to take a punch as well. That's interesting. He could be a problem at heavyweight. I see him. You know, I see him definitely touching those ranking next fight. I think he's getting a ranked fight next. And Luma Lukboom versus Alexia Tainara. I picked Alexia Tainara, and I thought that was a pretty cool fight, to be honest. In the end, I think Alexia Tainara showed vicious ground and pound. I think Luna Lukboom is she's a tricky fighter. And Alexia Tainara showed up great for her second fight in the UFC. I think she's going to be a problem in that 115 division for the women. I think she's going to be very tricky because she's a very solid grappler with vicious ground and pound. That's rare in a WMMA. So this is it for the card. I'm just going to see how I did in this card. So I picked Dominic Reyes to beat Ulberg. So I went 0-1 on that. Then I picked Ivan Urslan to beat Jimmy Cruz. So I went 0-2. I picked Raymond Tavera. So 0-3. This is terrible. I picked Magny to beat Jake Matthews though. So 1-3. I picked Nolan. So 2-3. Went Navarro. So 3-3. Okay. Comeback is real. I picked Petrosky. So I went 3-4. I picked Bedoya, so I went 3 and 5. Oof, this is brutal. I think I picked Musasa. I'm pretty sure I picked Musasa to beat Colby. I don't remember. Yeah, I think I picked Musasa. I'm gonna go 3 and 6. But you can rewatch the video. Make sure I picked Luana Carolina, so I went 3 and 7. Oof, this is brutal. I didn't pick any of those guys, so still 3 and 7. I picked Tainara, so I went 4 and 7. This is not good at all. This is terrible in picks. I went terrible in the first one as well, so we're gonna try to get better there. Maybe the Dominic Reyes pick was a bit hopeful. I always pick against Jimmy Crute because I just don't rate his skill set like that, but I feel like he keeps winning, so maybe I'm going to have to do an adjustment there. I picked Lighterman skill, which was wrong for the first time in a while, to be honest. And then Neil Magny pick is good, though. I'm happy about this pick. I think that was the best fight of the night. So this is it for the card breakdown. Thank you for watching. Make sure you follow, leave a comment, leave a like as well. And until next time, got some video coming soon. Break some MMA news during the week, matchup, do a UFC Rio breakdown. And yeah.